He said, "Can you do it?" And I said, "Oh, sure, that's easy." And he said, "Okay, you got the part." And then a couple of weeks later, when we were having the contract signing party where everybody was signing off, and as soon as I signed the contract and you pulled it to your chest, you said, "You know, the minute you walked in and filled the door,
exactly.
I knew I wanted you."
I told you that. That's good. So I don't have to tell you. Yeah, you had the part before you came through the door.
And I kept thinking, well, so much for talent.
Right place at the right time.
Yeah. Now, this is a great example of not wanting to know me at all until the scene is shot.
Right.
And we'd never been face to face with me in the mask.
Right.
And there's somebody on the floor with his hand on his belt to yank him to the floor, as I remember. But the first take on this, when Leatherface comes in the door, he lets out this scream of terror, and there's this look in his face that's really genuine, and he dove for the door. He just took off and ran.
Well, he knew you just knocked Bill Vale's head off. You know? So.
But this right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time he was gone.
Now, this is the great thing about Leatherface. There's this revealing moment, this close-up.
I mean, the thinking of you moment.
Where are they coming from?
Yeah.
Where are all these people coming from?
And I kept trying to remember, now, when you come down the hallway here, hit the chicken cage.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, watch. Right there.
And I love this worried look that Leatherface
and the
has,
teeth my dentist made for me. I thought they were great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he ad-libbed those, you know, made them with little tiny points instead of big fangs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like they were baby teeth.
My God, are more coming?
Am I going to pass the graduate exams?
Yeah, just really worried about this.
Yeah. And then this sort of dead moment.
Yeah. Well,
look at those dead eyes.
I guess it's okay.
Yeah. Dinner.
The moon. I remember you sending me out about a week before we started to shoot the picture to get a shot of the moon. I didn't imagine I could possibly. The moon was bright enough to photograph. I went out and overexposed it the first time. It was a white hole. I had to go back again.
Yeah, that's where we discover it's daytime.
The sun shone on the moon.
Right. Are you shot night for day?
No.
I exposed it. I figured, well, it can't be very bright. I'll just shoot it all the way open. You know. Just came back a white hole.
Yeah.
Now I remember that Marilyn and Franklin did not like each other very much, and that a lot of this bickering was genuine. Is that right?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm always uncomfortable watching this little sequence.
Yeah, this
because it's so tense. Mm-hmm. You know, they're so uncomfortable with each other.
Editorially, there's an interesting thing that happens in this sequence. When you come out, when you get Franklin, and there's a shot of the flashlight that comes up, then cut to reveal you. So since it isn't in the same shot, it was a cut, in other words, from him to you, making it shocking, maximum shocking, chair jumper style. What I did was I refined it down and cutting it, and then I found out it works best if, on the flashlight shot, if I remove 4 frames, so that he never quite gets there, because the audience tends to go along like with music that you understand, and can anticipate, so that that fraction of a second difference made a difference.
I remember us having a conversation as well about magician's technique of misdirection and use of misdirection to direct the eye to one side of the frame and have the danger enter frame from the other side, so that by the time you realize there was danger, it was in the middle of the frame, and that I think helps makes this a bit more shocking as well.
Yeah. Also, the cutting it in general, I would generally cut not right on action like most editors do, but I would generally cut a beat before the action or a beat just after it, so there wasn't that continuum, and so you'd get these little chops, subliminal things that was meant to make you uncomfortable.
I noticed in the graveyard scene with the fellow who says, I seen things, and he's lying in the tire. Right at the end, he's coughing, and then he goes, and he starts to take the breath, and you cut the scene before he finishes taking his breath, and that moment makes it really tense when you're waiting for it to finish.
Yeah. There's also when you get hit in the head with the wrench.
Yeah.
Is when I remembered. I mean, I noticed that there's a wide shot of you, and then it punches in close, and then the wrench hits instead of punching in as the wrench hits. And it's close enough to be conventional, but it adds a little edge.
I thought you were really clever on this, Toby. What Toby had me do here was light this one 40-foot stretch of dolly track that we had, and then we shot it on many different sizes repeatedly through the night. All this traveling, all of this, the scene that's about to unfold in front of you all takes place on one stretch of dolly track that we were able to shoot off the left side, sometimes off the right side, and just make the most out of our one good setup.
Well, all of the woods, I mean, remember, it was probably... was only about 70 feet by
if even that
35. Long. Yeah, it was very tiny. And you'd have the scaffolding up. I think we had what'd you have? 2 towers or one, or could we afford 2?
I think we had 2 towers. I had a 10K on one and 2 5Ks on the other. With blue gel for the nighttime convention, making it between a combination of gelling the light with the blue and the slow stock. It was nothing, next to nothing out there.
Yeah, here's.
Stop.
And we started Saw live on that shot too.
Yeah.
See here, look, these blood being sprayed up, and sort of being flicked up with your fingertips, and then finally he just threw the whole cup at me.
Yes, that's right. It was just off to the side. I'd forgotten.
I remember very clearly you and Dorothy were flanking the lens on either side, flicking and throwing blood.
Now this chase stuff.
Oh yeah.
I got to talk about this. Marilyn was extremely slow running, and I always thought that must be why almost never are we in the same frame. And there are a couple of times we were together where you'll notice that Leatherface just stops and starts doing stuff because I didn't want to overrun her. Okay. Like here, see? In the background, I'm cutting limbs there for a second, and it was just so I didn't catch her before she got away.
Right. I remember Daniel nearly lost an eye.
Oh, yeah,
somewhere
right.
In this. The camera hit a tree or something.
What it was is this on our 40 feet of track that we had our grip was a very long-legged guy who could get up to speed fast, and he would start me from a dead stop and get me up to a running speed as fast as he could. And I was panning with the subject, and my elbow came outside of the narrow corridor of the track, and my right elbow, which is panning the camera, hit a tree going backwards, and it slammed the camera back into my eye.
Bad black eye.
Yeah, I got a bad black eye from it.
Well, time to do some pruning. Also in this chase, I forgot I wasn't wearing cleats. And I don't know if you remember that. I was running down, chasing her, and I had to make a sharp turn. And as I turned, my feet went out from under me, and I landed on my back, and the saw went up past the lights.
I remember that.
And I couldn't see well enough out of the mask to have any idea where the saw was. And I looked around and rolled over onto my side and covered up my head, and the saw landed beside me.
God almighty, I remember chaos.
Yeah, and that's why in this little bit here, this is after it's happened, why, look at the way I turn here. And the reason I turn this way, and it looks like a sort of goofy take on a Keystone Cops.
Oh, it's great.
I was trying to keep from falling.
So it's like a big motor scooter or something, sliding in.
So it has this sort of comic effect, but in fact, I just didn't want to fall down.
I wasn't watching this. I'd like to have a lot of these lighting setups back. I'd like to have another chance.
Well, hey,
now we see a little.
Listen, all kind of things can be done now.
You know this thing about how an actor's supposed to always find his light? You'll notice here when I cut the door, and when I cut, I realized that I could see you, Danny, on the floor. And so I moved over to make sure that you could see my face really well as I was cutting the door open.
And I think that
Good stuff.
Was that the sequence where that was just basically the three of us were the only guys working as we were doing this door cutting sequence, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you jumped up. I remember you jumped up when I kicked the door, and you jumped up and ran away.
We had been working long, and our whole crew had sort of fallen out on us, just out of exhaustion and sleeping all over the house. And the three of us was near that. The door cutting was near the end of the sequence, and we had to get it done. We didn't have a choice, so it was just the three of us making the film at that moment.
Yeah.
That was the time when, waiting to set that shot up, I was sitting on the porch saying, "Time has no meaning," just chanting that for it felt like several hours. Now, poor Marilyn here. You know, you had a stunt double go out the window and fall 2 feet into a mattress, and then you dropped her off the roof so that the landing looked authentic.
Is that what happened?
Poor Marilyn, she was so beat up.
She was. She really put a lot into it.
Yeah.
She was totally into it. There's one take coming up when she gets to the gas station, the barbecue station.
So look at that turn. Look at that turn. Way.
When she breaks through the door in that scene with Jim Cito, we shot that I think 17 times, and.
Did you think she was Marilyn Monroe? Is that?
No. I mean, she really screwed her knees up, I think.
There's a little piece that's missing from the film coming up when, and this is the origin of the dance at the end. When she comes into the parking lot of the barbecue and makes the turn, you told me to come to that corner and stop and just get crazy. And so I started dancing around, twirling with the saw.
Right.
And then that became, at the end of the film, you said, let's do that again.
Yeah. I cut it out because it was best to not know if you were outside that door or not. I mean, that's why Jim Cito, when he goes out to the truck, he leaves the door open, and you have Marilyn and then the door, and you.
And also, I always felt like
you're coming through.
You don't want to give it away. I mean, it makes the ending stronger not to see the dancing before. See here, she was so slow. I'm just sort of galumphing behind her. You know?
Yeah. I love these long lens shots.
Yeah, here's where. Well, the great thing is too. Then when the truck starts up, for a second you think it's the saw.
Yeah, that's
Well, I thought it was the saw.
Yeah.
He's so great in this.
Yeah, that's the one we shot 17 times, and I mean that's like real blood on her knees, and it's really the costume is torn because that's the way she hit the concrete. There were no pads. I mean, I'm sure we had that technology back then, but it was just.
Would it cost more?
Yeah. Where was this towards where the highway this gas station was on? Does anybody remember?
It was out toward Bastrop, wasn't it?
I think that
it was east of town.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah, that's the shot with the door open.
I remember this. She came in. First time she came in, she was so wound up and freaked out. She went on for an entire roll of film the first time, an entire 11-minute roll of film.
Right.
Well, she knew that if she just kept going, that you'd leave her alone for a while.
Yeah, she was really into that moment. That's why I don't know if we shot this before we shot the chase. I don't recall. I know we did camp at this location. We either shot the entire day and then through the night to get this, or we were there 2 days. I don't know.
And this is where I think you really see him change. Just a twitch in his face, and he goes from really benign to...
Yeah, he's really great, this skitzing around he does, yeah. And he's gentle with it too, you know. It's like toward the end, you know, when he said, "Oh, my grandpa's the best killer